1, 2, 1, 2, 3, yeah. In slum national underground, thunder pounds when I stomp the ground. Like a million silverback orangutan, you can't stop a train.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost. Cybertron!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Autopod Decepticast. This is the podcast where we like to break things down. One thing down, the movie, Transformers the movie from 1986. If this is your first time listening to this episode or listening to this show,
Why now?
you need to hit pause way back to episode 1, because why would you join now at this point? Just start in and go, unless you hate all the parts of the movie that...
It is interesting
Happened already.
in that this is a very linear podcast.
It's true, but so first-time listeners, stop, go back. Long-time listeners, hey, how you doing? Glad you're back. It's episode 35. We're covering minute 34 to the 35-minute mark. My name is Aaron, and I'm here with my freshly roasted friends from infancy.
Ooh, I'm still feeling a little toasty burn, and I'm Ryan.
I'm Caleb, and that was a blast.
That
roast
was really fun.
So much fun.
So we're fresh off Ryan's birthday roast, at least sort of. I mean, it's 2 weeks after, and we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
It's still the talk of town.
Yes.
Roast.
The talk of town.
Talk-a-town.
Tonka Town.
You know, like the truck. You know, for kids.
So we celebrated the life of a man we've known, friends over 30 years. Mm-hmm. That means among us we have 90 years of friendship.
That's right.
God, let's end it.
It's
Time for the Kevorkian this friendship.
What Transformer would you have as your best friend?
Whoa, I know Caleb's answer would be Wheelie.
No way, Jose. No, I'd say a cool friend to hang out with. The Junkions for sure.
Oh,
They're party animals.
I don't know. They would get old, I think, quick. I think I'd go Beachcomber. He's real mellow, laid back. We can just hang out. I don't know. He likes to
Smoke that dro?
He does like nature an awful lot, though.
Yeah,
You just want to go camping all the time?
That
Yeah.
booklet I have, that old Transformers children's book. It's Beachcomber hanging down by the pond, just staring into his reflection.
I thought the obvious answers for all of us were going to be Jazz and Blaster.
Well,
But
You're wrong.
maybe to hang out, talk about music. But the problem with those guys are they're so much cooler than me that I don't always, like when we'd go to clubs, I'd always it'd be Jazz, Blaster, and that other guy.
It's
And
like
so they outshine me.
you don't want to be the ugly girl in the group of everybody else is hotter.
Right, exactly. I would just be, I don't know, a wingman for those guys. So I would say maybe Omega Supreme. He's big, he's loyal, he doesn't want the limelight. He'll bust some fools up for you if you need him to.
And you can go to space.
Yeah.
And you can go to space. Secondarily, I'd say Cup, because there's nothing, hanging out with cool old men.
And listening to his fucking stories.
Yeah.
It's like going and getting drunk at the VFW on a
Tell us
Saturday
about the
night.
Petro Rabbits.
Yeah.
So, from our last episode, we were at the Decepticon Hall of Heroes, and during his coronation, Starscream was dispatched swiftly, coldly, and assuredly. And do you realize in the course of this movie, we went from Starscream wielding Megatron and killing a bunch of Autobots to him literally being on the other end of that barrel?
Oh, how quickly the tide turns.
it's what was it, like a day?
I think one day in movie time, yes. But Galvatron takes control of the Decepticons. The minute ends with Unicron approaching Cybertron's moons. What the fuck is going on here?
Wasting
Yeah,
no time.
and we right away, right up top, 3402, get another bite at the Unicron rushing past Apple.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it is awesome.
Do you think that's the same animation from earlier in the movie?
I think probably, because it's so detailed. That's why it looks so good. For
great-
maybe a second on the movie, it's so much work went into that.
Yeah,
Right.
it's really awesome.
I love we're on the equator. It's kind of it's sort of the trench run of this
That's right.
situation. And the spikes. Even like the spikes that are sticking out are so detailed. They look awesome. So 3401 to 3409. From Moonbase One, we see Jazz and Cliffjumper reacting
Where'd
to
that come from?
Unicron's
Where do you mean where did it
approach.
come from? It's massive. Like,
Yeah,
right.
it's
That,
7 times the size of the moon.
I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, I know we're going to go into this, but there's. I have
Let's
all
do
kinds
it
of-
now.
Okay. I don't think the Moonbase probably has the best detection systems in place.
what is the bit like? The radar's real bad, and Unicron sneaks up on everything. Like he is real sly
Yeah.
and stealthy.
Do you think that maybe it's not that the radar? Think about this. I think I just solved this entire movie.
Okay.
It's not that the radar's bad. It's that Jazz and Cliffjumper are bad.
They're incompetent.
So think about it.
Sure.
It's their fault. The events of this movie are set in motion. They couldn't even detect Laserbeak flying in. If they could have
True.
detected Laserbeak, took him out. They're like literally. They said no Decepticon shenanigans around here.
Right. No, I will have to agree with you because there was.
Or maybe Unicron has some cloaking technology.
Yeah, but I'd say that they're just completely incompetent. Laserbeak came in and spied on them, and now obviously
Everybody's dead. All their friends are dead.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
it's over.
Yeah.
They have screwed up.
Jazz,
But-
Cliffjumper, what's up?
Nope,
nothing.
No, what is it? No,
No,
Decepticon
he doesn't.
shenanigans around
No, he
here.
doesn't say that. He asks Moonbase 2 if there are Decepticon shenanigans in your area.
Oh, does
But
he?
I think he does say no maybe like no Decepticons here, Prime.
So what you're saying is, did Prime ask Jazz if there's any problems with Moonbase 1, and Jazz just quickly deflects it to talking about Moonbase 2?
It's like, I think it's cool, I don't know. Hey, Spike Bumblebee!
Yeah, any problems over there? No. Well,
I really think it's Jazz's fault. I
Okay.
hate to say it because
And
I
he
want to be his
lives.
best friend. They were smoking. They were looking at robo pornos. I don't know what they're doing. They were just not
That's
paying
exactly
attention.
what I was thinking, actually.
Okay, we've got this shot, an awesome shot of Unicron approaching the moon base at around 3409. Proportionately, as we were saying, Moonbase One is basically the size of a quarter pounder with cheese. And
Royale
to our
with
French listeners,
Oh, we did. There we go.
So Cliffjumper and Jazz stare at the monitor, and I love that shot. Actually, the lights come out of Unicron's mouth, and it kind of envelops these two guys, and they are sort of paralyzed there. They should have started running a lot sooner.
Yeah, well, it's kind of just a parallel of whenever he attacks Lethone, how it shows basically the same kind of thing.
but at least they know what. At least the Lithonians know what it is.
True.
Inexplicably. Yeah.
And they're paying attention a little bit better to their radar, but
Yeah, but they're also very busy, like playing with their potions. These
Space
guys
wizards.
don't seem to be doing anything at all, other than it looked like they were just hanging out talking about.
I have a hard time understanding what their job is on the moon base. Like
Yeah.
two guys, send 5 Decepticons from Cybertron over there. Boom, it's Decepticon moon base now.
Yeah.
Well, this is the moon base where the munitions factory was being overseen by the Dinobots is.
And they're gone.
Yeah, so they're the only ones left on this moon base.
We know all the Decepticons are on Cybertron because of the coronation ceremony. These guys are fucked. I'd
Yeah.
be getting the fuck out of there.
Which is, so that's what they're getting ready to do, right? They're reacting.
So exactly, yeah. Unicorns
Unicorn.
are digging in. This is a great scene. I love how Jazz is kind of thrown as the sort of seismic force of the horns penetrating the planet happens. So now we're on Earth,
Yep,
around
back to Autobot City.
3420. And we get an overhead shot of the city, which is badly damaged.
A quick thing about the planet Earth that I just noticed it actually shows it rotating.
Yeah,
when
it
I saw
does.
That's a pretty
Really?
cool effect.
Really fast, though.
Yeah, it's subtle.
Yeah.
It has to rotate fast for the animation, otherwise you would never notice.
Right.
See?
Yeah.
I'll be darned, and that's painted too. That's
pretty
not
cool.
like
That's pretty cool.
I think this shot at 3421 of Autobot City, I'm pretty sure like they just did an overlay on top of it over the damage.
Yeah, this is the same shot when they showed like Shockwave made his brief entry and exit to the battle.
You're right. So what you're saying is this is a painted background and then another cell that's been overlaid
Yes.
on top
Yeah,
of it and painted.
they put battle damage on it. It's a cell of
That makes sense.
damage.
I believe it. I think pay attention when we get into our next minute because I think that you're going to use this exact
Okay.
same shot again. So take a mental note, if you will.
Real.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say real quick here. You can go ahead at 34:25. Just watch Daniel. He's like, yeah, lift it up, fucking little prick.
We've got Springer and RC putting a post up, I guess, a column, a support beam of support, and Daniel as his is just doing nothing.
Yeah,
Well,
he's just
that's
waving
his
it
MO.
like, yeah, lift it up, lift it up. Oh, fuck it, like I'm helping, like an asshole.
He's a piece of shit. So, sorry, I need to go back in time. I had a point that I missed. This part of the overhead city reminds me of the video game Rampage. Whenever you would climb a building and smash.
Yeah,
windows,
no,
like,
I
the battle
that's a
damage
game
reminds
that
me of
is
that.
fun for like. I think I played that a lot as a kid, but like now when I play it, it's like fun for about 10 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, it's just all this.
I could play it for hours.
Really?
Yes. I could play, and all the levels are basically exactly the same.
Yeah, they're all the same.
And I don't know why I found it so satisfying, but I
do
could play
like that
forever.
game.
All right, sorry guys, I backed us up too much. Rotating Earth, battle
That's all right.
damage.
For those of you who don't know,
Daniel,
Rampage is basically you pick a monster and you just destroy cities and eat people.
I have to say quickly. I like how like there's damage everywhere in Autobot City, and Springer and RC are like lifting this column, and I'm just imagining them getting that column picked up and being like, "Okay, good job.
break time. Pull out an Astra cigarette.
So that's done.
You got a long way
Yeah,
to go.
this is like
Why even
conservatively
bother?
for the 7 Autobots that are here or whatever. This will take 11 years.
Why
This is
even
a
bother?
fool's errand.
Yeah.
Yeah, this like you gotta just forget this. Go rebuild somewhere else.
Which
the
is
insurance
also-
company is not gonna pay
No.
this out.
No.
Which is also why, like, Ultra Magnus is like, we have to rebuild Autobot City as opposed to going after the Decepticons when they were, like, on the run. I'm like, was bad planning.
You're not gonna go after them for 25 years.
I'm losing faith in the Autobots the more I see this movie.
Well, don't lose faith in one of my favorite characters, Blaster. We've got Blaster
Yeah,
and
Blaster's
Jazz
back.
again
Yeah.
for the first time. So while Springer and RC are doing whatever they're doing and Daniel's quote-unquote helping, Blaster gets a kind of weak transmission as he's carrying a diode or spark plug or whatever that is. So it's Jazz, Roger Me, Wilco Me, anything, hello, hello, Earth. Blaster puts down the diode. Blaster calls the signal faint, but it really isn't.
I mean,
It's
it seems pretty clear.
But that maybe perhaps the producers could have put some fake radio distortion or something. Maybe, I don't know. That's all you needed, just you.
Yeah.
What's his name? Motormouth Jonesing it.
Michael Winslow.
Thank you. Yes, I couldn't remember his name. So the Autobots, Springer, RC, Ultra Magnus, and Daniel, they listen to the quote faint signal. And essentially, Jazz is letting everybody know that a giant planet has shown up on the scene. It's attacking Moonbase One. The camera zooms in on Ultra Magnus, which I feel for him. He's been leader for a day and a half, and now he's got this to deal with.
has gone south.
God damn it.
You know, just a quick sidebar. I just thought of Michael Winslow. I rewatched Police Academy a little while back.
Oh, no.
Ooh, boy,
Yeah.
it does not hold up.
No.
It's just all felonies. It's like rewatching Porky's or
yeah.
any 80s comedy. It's like, oh, this is just sexual assault. Okay, and it's like real racist and homophobic.
Yeah.
It's bad. So
It's basically 80s frat boy humor.
yes, and I remember as a kid thinking it was so cool and awesome, and I'm like, oh, these guys are monsters.
They are. They're horrible people.
Well, and if you think about, okay, that's the culture of that time, but everything that's happening today is kind
Is
of
from
rooted in
that.
that culture. Everybody that's like, it's basically old men that were sort of that
Yeah,
era.
and the writers were like, "This is really funny. Look, John Belushi's peeping into a window, watching women undress,
And his
It's
hard on makes him fall back from the ladder.
and it's like, oh, this is what people thought was acceptable
Yes,
humor because
yes.
this was what was happening in the world."
Yes.
Right. Well, so, okay,
Ultra Magnus has got a lot to deal with.
Yep.
Right up front.
he does. And so that's at the 45-minute mark. You've got his concerned look on his face. So we're going to shift back. Unicron is...
Eatin Moonbase One.
He is shoving that quarter pounder right into his fangdanus. His fangus.
His Fangus, yes.
Jinx personal. It's so he's making short work of that moon base. And I love these eating planet sequences. They're so cool.
Yeah.
And this shot right here at around 3450, Jazz and Cliffjumper are running away. Just the detail on the background.
Yeah.
It's another one of those everything's animated, lots of debris, all that kind of stuff. They're running to a ship. and trying to get out of Dodge.
Escape.
And that's really about where the minute ends, right?
Yep, there's right as
It's convenient that ship was parked there.
Yeah.
I do have a voice actor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's actually just a revisit of Casey Kasem. I just wanted to bring him back real quick since he showed back up here.
One of our favorites.
Definitely. I don't know which of you guys. It wasn't me. Which of you guys is the one that enslaved him?
Oh, with the incantation, that was me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know you knew how to do that.
I mean, you don't know everything about me. Yeah,
Been friends for 30 years.
I've been into the dark arts for a while. I made a sigil, and painted a pentagram on the floor in blood, and it was not easy. And he is unhappy.
So, I mean, can you talk to him anytime you want?
Man, it's a real bummer. Like, he is just so whiny
Okay, well,
about being his permanent spirit enslaved for all eternity.
well, Casey, I'm sorry. We like having you around. You perform a function, and you're great at it.
Yeah, I love the idea that I've enslaved him just to be, once in a while, do a 30-second bit.
The reason I brought him up is just because he showed back up, and we discussed his Lebanese, not Libyan origins, his storied radio career, voiceover career, controversial departure from the show. I have a little bit of Casey Kasem trivia for you.
Okay.
Bring it on.
He was a devout vegan, and this is interesting.
True.
He quit voicing Shaggy in the late 90s because he was asked to voice him in a Burger King commercial, and he wouldn't do it, so he quit, and he returned to the voice in 2002, but he negotiated to have the character of Shaggy become a vegetarian.
Wow.
So from that point forward...
I did not know that Shaggy became a vegetarian.
I didn't
you,
either.
you probably weren't up on your Scooby-Doo of the early 2000s.
Yeah, I think I would just watch. The only ones I've seen were from the 60s.
Right. He was a political liberal. He narrated a campaign ad for George McGovern's presidency and hosted fundraisers for Jesse Jackson's campaigns in 84
and we know how well those went.
and 88. And speaking of failed liberal candidates, he also supported Ralph Nader in 2000 and Kucinich in 2004 and 2008.
Man, he perpetually backs the wrong pony.
He backs the right pony. Unfortunately, it's
right.
the losing pony.
Right, so he's like backing his conscience, but
Yeah, well,
just never.
we wish more people would do.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, not if
Then,
you're gonna.
then
back...
we'd have President Bernie Sanders right now,
God,
and we would be
that'd be
living
so
in that
amazing.
utopia.
You go ahead.
Oh,
with
I
Jason.
was just gonna say, I think we posted it maybe on Twitter. I don't know if we posted it to our website, and we could.
We can always repost it.
I just love the Casey Kasem meltdown.
The countdown will begin this Sunday afternoon at 1, right here on the radio station you grew up with. Music Radio 138. Oh, fuck. What the hell's going on here? Oh, Jesus, well, isn't it the last hour? We got another hour to do? Jeez, I thought we were almost finished. Good golly, Miss Molly. Boy, this is fucking ponderous, man. Ponderous, fucking ponderous. Hi, this is Casey Kasem. American Top 40 has moved to a new time. I hope you'll join me this Saturday morning and every Saturday morning at 2. We're up to our long-distance dedication. And this one is about kids and pets and a situation that we can all understand, whether we have kids or pets or neither. It's from a man in Cincinnati, Ohio. And here's what he writes. Dear Casey, this may seem to be a strange dedication request, but I'm quite sincere, and it'll mean a lot if you play it. Recently, there was a death in our family. He was a little dog named Snuggles, but he was most certainly a part of... Let's go start again. I'm coming out of the record. Play the record, okay? Please. See, when you come out of those up-tempo goddamn numbers, man, it's impossible to make those transitions. And then you got to go into somebody dying. You know, they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for, but goddamn it, if we can't come out of a slow record, I don't understand it. Is Don on the phone? Okay, I want a goddamn concerted effort to come out of a record that isn't a fucking up-tempo record every time I do a goddamn death dedication. Now, make it, and I also want to know what happened to the pictures I was supposed to see this week. This is last goddamn time. I want somebody to use his fucking brain to not come out of a goddamn record that is that's up tempo, and I got to talk about a fucking dog dying.
Unlike some of the, I love celebrity sort of unhinged moments, but unlike some of the ones you see, like I feel like he probably has legitimate gripes.
Yes.
Like he's trying to be a professional, and people aren't being a professional.
And he's really aware. I mean, I think it'd be hard for me to like pay attention to what I'm reading, as much dialogue as he's saying. Because like when he says the Saturday morning at 2. 2.
I always thought it was on Sunday.
All right, we'll have to definitely post that again.
Sorry, I just want to do my personal favorite real quick. Radio spot. I think he's drunk, maybe.
Okay.
Barry White.
Hi, this is Barry White. Please join me on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, May 8th, 9th, and 10th for the first fucking thing. I'm cutting the fucking spot, Tony. Jesus. Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College cordially invite you to a weekend in Texas on Friday, Saturday, one more time. Saturday and Sunday. Shit. Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College cordially invite you to a weekend in Texas on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, May 8th, 9th, and 10th. As the shit. Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College cordially invites you to a weekend in Waco, Texas, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, May 8th, 9th, and 10th. This gala weekend will include the welcoming of celebrities, reception on Friday, the first, second, and third rounds of tennis tournament. The first, second, and third rounds of... Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College cordially invites you to a weekend in Waco, Texas. Welcoming celebrities, some reception on Friday. Let's take it after the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Okay? Do it over. Fuck it. Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College cordially invites you to a beautiful weekend in Waco, Texas on Friday. This asshole fucked these words up, man. I mean, he's got words that he don't even need. Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College cordially invites you to a beautiful weekend in Waco, Texas. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, May 8th, 9th, and 10th. This gala weekend will include the welcoming celebrity reception on Friday, the first, second, and third rounds of the tennis tournament, the Barry White concert with the Love Unlimited Orchestra, of course, and the post-concert reception on Saturday, and a championship semi-finals. Oh, fuck this shit, man. I'm gonna cut this shit off. All right, fuck this. I'm gonna take it up to, concert Love Unlimited Orchestra. That's where I'm gonna stop at. So get your tickets now. Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College cordially invites your ass to come on down. Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College cordially invites you to a beautiful weekend on Friday, Saturday. Ain't this a bitch? Lord, dude.
Barry White is just too drunk to read. I think.
There's also, speaking of, of the Transformers and stuff, there are Orson Welles outtakes of like Paul Masson or whatever. I think that was
the one I put one up of him. He is.
Oh boy,
it's sad.
Yeah, it's not a fun time to watch.
And it's weird to watch the other actors with them. They're holding their part. They're like, and they're seeming to probably.
And he's looking at the director like, "Am I going now?"
2. That's so good. He's so good. I didn't even pick that up until you guys were talking about it. I thought I couldn't tell why he was freaking out. Like, I'm a dummy. So that's Casey Kasem. We love you. Thank you for the
R.I.P.
Thank you for the work you do on the show.
Yes. I did have a little bit. I went down kind of a rabbit hole about the moons of Cybertron.
Okay.
Because they don't show up in season 1 or 2. They only are introduced in the movie. Although, in one of the episodes, in episode 34, Microbots, Megatron, while drunk on energon, overcharged, quote unquote, all the Decepticons get fucked up on energon.
I still remember that one. It was really strange.
Megatron is refers to Cybertron wistfully as Cybertron, the land of the metal moon. and then passes out.
I need to watch that episode.
It is
again.
crazy. It's one of those real high concept ones where Perceptor shrinks them down and they go inside Megatron. And there is, I'll show. Oh, I got
High concept.
pictured it. Yeah, I wanted to work that in. I got like they literally ride what is it? An evil brain impulse. From his like chest down into his core, which he has gotten a battery from their downed ship, and that's why he's so powerful in it. But the picture is like, I'll put this up, but that's what it looks like. They're riding his evil brain impulse.
It's like a little devil sperm, just
Yeah, it looks like a ride at a carnival. Or Spook House.
and that's the only mention of moons prior to the movie, huh? As
Yeah,
far as
and
we know.
it's crazy because that episode, I went on a whole thing with that episode, but the writer who was it? David, I think. David Wise. Yeah, he cannibalized this for a He-Man episode called Day of the Machines, and then almost word for word redid it for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder and Splintered episode. And then there was another He-Man episode called Day of the Machines, yeah, or another Transformers episode called Day of the Machines, which kind of borrowed from this, and it's one like there's one.
So
with
borrowed the concept of shrinking people and
some of the themes from it, like Crimzeek, I think it's in it's one of the ones with Crimzeek's in, and oh man, it was just like wow. I mean
Lazy
the schedules.
ass motherfuckers.
Well, the writers probably had to crank out a ton in the '80s, so it's
Right.
like.
it's like you just had a spinning wheel of concepts, and you'd be like, spin the wheel, okay, shrink ray, spin it again, metaphor for love.
Those reels literally do exist, where it's like when you're having trouble writing, there are wheels. I forget who came up with them of like what to do next in your story.
Guys, we're staying on time. You know what it's time for?
Well,
Yes!
Deviations.
Okay, as I tend to do, I will go first and get mine out of the way. The script that I have says that as he consumes the moon base, that bit by bit we see new sections of the planet being generated. So the script is insinuating that we would actually see Unicron grow with each meal, which is kind of a cool concept, actually. But as he's attacking the moon base, it also refers to the sinister mist that we saw back to the beginning begins to pour out of him as he approaches the moon base. Excuse me. Jazz starts transmitting, which is pretty much the same, and the script transitions us to Earth and tells us that Autobot City is almost rebuilt.
wow. They had, I'm sure, a crack team, thousands of workers.
Like maybe if they somehow kidnapped the Constructicons and enslaved them.
How long did it take to rebuild the 9/11 site? 5 years.
So that's obviously ludicrous from a lot of levels. First, because what we see on screen is the exact opposite. Autobot City is hopelessly smashed, not a fixer-upper, leave it. Also, even if it was, a day has passed. Like, I don't care if they had 6 sets of Constructicons.
That's true.
Like, there's no way they could fix that whole goddamn
That's
city.
hilarious.
But Unicron's energy field, also, they speak of it dissolving the moon landscape. And so, lots of talk about that dissolving action that we never actually saw on screen.
Well, for mine, this one is a long one. So everybody hunker down. Take your dicks out. Take your pussies out.
Let's not. Not in this climate.
Get yourself a drink and let's listen to this fucking shit.
Consensually do the things that
Yes,
Ryan just
thank
said.
you. Thank you.
I assumed they were alone.
Oh God.
Okay, so just to catch up a little bit, the previous one, we were on Cybertron in the Hall of Heroes. Galvatron had just killed Starscream, and we left off with him saying, "Prepare an offering of energy for Ingestor."
That's right.
So, on Scourge and the Sweeps, they quickly haul energon cubes out to the center of the hall and stack them up. Yeah. As Cyclonus and his minions also bring in energon cubes from adjacent storehouses, making a large pile. And then Bone Crusher says, "That's all the energon left on Cybertron," which I guess was all in one place. Dirge, Thrust, and Astrotrain, they push forward and they seem really hesitant about it. And Astrotrain says, "We'll have no energy left for ourselves." Galvatron shoves Dirge and thrusts aside to let more energon cubes pass all the energy to Ingestor. Galvatron reacts as a cold ray suddenly pierces the sky and bathes the stack of energon cubes in its light. There's a ghostly voice of Ingestor greedily, energy. Parentheses, noises of devouring.
Doesn't he get energy from eating planets?
Hey.
Yes, that's coming up.
Okay.
But also energon cubes, I guess. On the energon cube pile, they shimmer and dissolve and are sucked into the cold ray and move up and off into that ray into space, traveling at great speed. Bone Crusher, it's sucking up the energon cubes. And then Dirge in a voiceover, like soda oil through a straw. Stop that. Stop doing that.
That's a definite Friedman line right there.
God, that script is so bananas.
Soda oil.
It never fails to surprise me.
Oh, man. We move along the ray down to Cybertron from a great distance, moving up very fast, following the energy stream, accompanied by sucking soda straw noises.
Oh, no!
like you're at the end of the soda.
Yeah, like, I think he was just thirsty when he wrote this. And then as the cold ray ends on Unicron, where energy flows down into Unicron through a cold ray straw and instantly changes color of the slab planet, causing the entire planet to start rotating more rapidly on its axis, a light source infusing its surface as Unicron expands, like in yours, he gets bigger, a great sigh and starts moving out of orbit toward the camera. That's good soda. Filling the screen as it moves with great speed. And we're back in the Hall of Heroes. They look up in the sky at a cold ray that just sucked up all the energon cubes dry. Astrotrain says, look, up in the sky. And Dirge, Scrapper, et al. What is it? It's a whole planet. It's coming to us in that beam of light. And the glowing speck hurtles closer. And Unicron comes to a stop in the sky close to Cybertron, looming enormously close. Like some giant moon threatening to crush the planet which has attracted it, still tethered to Cybertron by the cold ray. The Decepticons are shocked. And then we go to the munitions factory on Cybertron with the moon of Cybertron with Jazz and Cliffjumper. They react, looking off at Unicron, which looms even larger to them since the moon is nearer to it than Cybertron. A strange.
Thanks for the explanation of foreshortening script.
That's right. What's that humongous planet doing here? That was bad Jazz. I can't get the Kasem Carruthers. And then Cliffjumper says, it's destabilizing our gravity.
You got to do Casey Kasem as Cliffjumper.
It's destabilizing our gravity. And then Jazz says, talk to me, Earth. We got a situation. See, I got it back. Then it's very similar in Autobot City, which again in this script says is almost rebuilt and refortified. And then the same kind of thing where Jazz talks to Blaster. And we even have in this script, Springer and RC are working to fit a whole section into place as Daniel is motioning them to move it a little this way.
They kept it in the movie.
He's just a little foreman.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised if they look at him and just drop that column
Well,
on his ass.
that's what we white males are good at. We're foremen. We're overseers.
Jesus. Yes. Officer, overseer. Sorry, shout out to KRS-One.
Blaster says, Blaster always rhymes in this script. He says, something's coming down the pike that I shall play upon my mic. Whoa!
So I feel like at one point he did that, didn't he? Did he not? Was he not a rhymer in the early episodes?
I don't remember, but I don't recall that.
I'll do some research. I feel like at one point he did rhyme. That was a gimmick, but I think they dropped it. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, and then basically we have the same thing where he relays the message. Springer runs off, says, I have to go tell Ultra Magnus, which, again, this is a good edit here because it's like they do in the movie where just have Ultra Magnus there hearing the message. And then we're back in the Cybertron in the Hall of Heroes, and Scourge says, what's happening, mighty Galvatron? And Galvatron says, I don't know. And then Dirge points up, look, the third moon. And and the moon is beginning to pull away from an orbit ring and slowly move toward Unicron. A dark spot appears in Unicron, and spot appears, well, that's a typo, to open into gaping dark hole, which changes outline and shows lines of moisture like saliva as salivating sounds of slurping and sucking are heard. I think he has an ASMR thing.
Slurping and sucking.
And then Dirge says, that planet is trying to devour it. And more intensely, the cold ray suddenly extends to that moon, drawing the moon toward it faster and faster. And that's the one that, I guess I guess they're saying that that's the one that Jazz and Cliffjumper are on, because then it cuts to Jazz and Cliffjumper where there are quakes, tremors, and cyclonic winds. The structures start to collapse, and then Jazz and Cliffjumper get to an escape vehicle as Unicron looms larger, larger, larger. It's Maw working closer and closer.
Slurping and
That's right.
salivating.
And Jazz says the same thing. This survived all the way through. Got to blast free if we can. And that's where that minute ends.
So, oh my God, there's no way they could have made this movie. For every minute of movie that actually is produced, there's 10 minutes of movie in your script.
Yeah, it would have been so long.
I guess that's a good strategy for writing it. You overwrite it and have it get
And then you
whittled
edit,
down.
yeah. And that's the thing is like that. Again, this is a first draft, so whenever you were writing a first draft, it's never meant to be what it is. It's just you write and write and write, and then you cut and fix later. So we're being a little
Still
hard
love
on
it.
Ron.
Still love it.
We're being hard on it, but
We're being hard,
It's so
hard on it, but because
it's so
fun.
good.
Just because we're jealous. It's just hate.
I'm not jealous. I just like making fun of things.
Well, it's like we said, it's bananas.
Yeah.
But it's also amazing.
Well, yeah, I love it. It's so fucking crazy.
You guys want to talk? So, okay, we can.
I'm the ghost of the iconic moment.
You know. Sure.
All right. So for me, it's that bright light overpowering our image of Jazz and Cliffjumper. It's like, forget about the space wizards. We didn't care about those people. These were people we actually care about. It's upon them. The danger is real. So that's it for me. And also that image. There's the great shadow play of the light coming across them, and it's a very subtle animation work. How they go from normal, and then the light comes on, and they sort of add the shadows and layer the shadows on. It looks really great.
I think mine would be when Unicron, like that part where he sinks his fangs into Moonbase One and all the rubble falls and Jazz and Cliffjumper fall down. That part where I like that a lot.
I'll go again with the Unicron flyby.
Yeah, it's good.
That's an
It is
easy.
good.
That's an easy out, but it's a good out.
That's not easy. That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Yay.
Caleb, you're a contributor.
Oh, thank you.
You content creator. I have one last point before we close out.
Okay.
Just on the issue of where the fuck is Cybertron. In the first issue of the comic, Cybertron is described as the size of Saturn.
That's huge.
Yeah, it
It's
changes many times.
That's enormous.
Because
and-
Earth is the size of one of the globes on his
on
ring.
Unicron. And in the movie, it seems like Cybertron's about the size of Earth's moon. A Cybertron originally orbited Alpha Centauri, which is 4.37 light years away, and was shaken out of its orbit and sent toward Earth by the Great War.
Okay, I
That's
kind
the
of
origin
remember that
in the
plot point.
comic.
Okay, all right. Thanks for that, Ryan.
Yep.
Next episode, Jazz and Cliffjumper, Autobot appetizers,
Maybe.
Spike and Bumblebee, Transformer tapas.
Oh boy.
Tune in and find out. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and tune in. Follow us on our social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all of them at APodDcast. And visit our web presence at autopoddecepticast.com. iTunes users,
Rate and subscribe.
5 stars, please. It really helps us.
all right, thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
It's so weird, your life.
Yeah, it's real fucked up.
I can't imagine it. Caleb, you had a story.
Oh, so it has nothing to do with anything other than it's kind of a funny story, but
Okay.
a crazy story. So there's this outside sales rep guy. He is at my work, and he's like an old school salesman. Like he travels a lot in his territory. He does more face-to-face
That still
sales
exists?
calls. Yes.
Wow.
He does more face-to-face sales calls than anybody else, like in my company. Like he doesn't have to do it, but he's
That's his style.
that's his style, and he's really good at it.
So a lot of taking people out to like strip clubs and steak dinners and
There's bars involved usually.
All right.
And
so
so
fun.
yeah. He loves doing it, and and his territory happens to be like Kentucky and Tennessee, so he knows everything about all the bourbons and stuff and
Nice.
like that. And so So I was told a story by my supervisor who's worked with him, the other guy, the sales guy, for a while, and says that he's like, yeah, he's a character, and I know he is. I've never met him in person, but I deal with him on the phone, and he's like he's a Southerner hardcore. Like he's just like,
I'm just a simple Southern salesman.
yes, that's exact. I mean, that's how he's really good at his job, but that's how he comes across.
He sounds like a character from a play.
Yeah, so he's
Willie Lomax.
Like a Neil Simon play or
but
something.
not nervous. He's real laid back and works hard. He's a super nice guy, but he's also just zany, just oddball. So the story is, he was on his way to do a sales call with a client, and while he was, we have our salespeople will buy like cookies or something. They'll bring something. Hey, here's some cookies to the client, and that's actually surprisingly like a normal thing.
Cookies.
So he brings cookies.
Sex workers.
That's her name.
So instead of like him bringing like a dessert or something, he's bringing the client chicken salad. So he stops at a place to get chicken salad, and I guess maybe they like chicken salad. I don't know. Mm-hmm. While he's there, he's like, yeah, I might as well buy a chicken salad sandwich for myself and eat it on the way. So he is driving and eating this chicken salad sandwich, and he somehow gets a large piece of the chicken lodged in his throat and is choking on it while he's driving on the interstate to the point where he passes out behind the wheel, and the car goes into the ditch across the oncoming interstate lane, flips over and rolls, and the process of the flipping causes the Heimlich that the chicken. And then the car, comes to a halt, and the next thing he remembers is there's a volunteer fireman like in the car, reaching like checking on him, mm-hmm. And he comes to and goes, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
I say, what are you doing here, son?
Hey, boy. Did the sandwich survive the crash?
I doubt it.
Did the salad survive the crash?
Good question.
It was tossed.
So
that
anyway.
is, wow. I mean, was he okay?
Yeah.
He went to the hospital for a little checkup,
I'm sure
I
he
assume,
did.
but
I
no
guess.
broken
I don't know.
bones, no
That's-
organs
No.
displaced.
But passed
Nothing
out.
severed.
Driving.
That's incredible.
That is my fear of being alone and swallowing something and choking, because I tend to not chew, like, especially steak enough, and there have been times where I've swallowed it and it's like, oh no, it's halfway down, it won't go, and then so, like, thankfully it always, like, I'm now careful to cut into smaller pieces, but I'm always afraid of choking to death alone.
Think about this: if he had been responsible and pulled over, he probably would have died.
Oh, that's, yeah. So
There was another story. This is not.
So just stay the course,
I
everybody.
guess. The other one was really not as interesting, but my other boss that told me this story was in a car with the owner of the company one time, and this sales guy was driving in front of him. They were driving somewhere, and and I guess that the sales guy was reading the newspaper while driving, like had it
Shit.
on the and like, you could visibly see him reading the paper from the car behind.
He's got a pipe hanging out one side of his mouth.
Anyway.
I've seen people like reading books like this while they're driving, and that seems perfectly safe. Like, that's crazy. Or like watching TV, or like.
Well, there's why read a book in the car anymore? There's called audiobooks, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. No, like it's because that doesn't give them the thrill of it being terribly dangerous.
Which brings us to our new sponsor, Audible.com.
Man.
I'm reading Pinchon's Gravity Falls on Audible.
How many weeks in a
Gravity's
row?
rainbow,
God
you idiot.
You guys want to get going?
Yeah, we better.
All right. Hey, we got
It would be
something.
so awesome if we were sponsored by Audible, though.
Well, we
That
do
would
have
be
a
great.
sponsor. We have a sponsor.
Sure, we do.
My son has this company called Bro Cells, and he offered to me last night. He wanted to know if he could be a sponsor for the
He
show.
has $6.
I will take it.
All right.
I'll take $2.
So,
All right.
yeah, pretty soon we'll be like, this episode brought to you by Bro Cells.
All right. That's going to be fun for everybody to try and figure out what that means.
Yeah,
Not even my son knows what it means.
That's true. Okay, here we go.